Is spirituality a psychological healing?
It's a good question. Unfortunately, we do not have glorious Muslim psychologists. Obviously, I do not deny that there are big number of psychologists who are coming from Muslim ethnicity, but what I'm denying is we do not have any institutions which was set up, psychological, you can say studies, which is set up based on Quran and Sunnah. Okay, but it could be, for example, Freud and his movement, and some of the Muslims learning that and promoting for that. Okay, it could be, for example, Jung. Okay, it could be Nietzsche, it could be any.
Were there some in the past, maybe? No?
Of course, we had them.
Muslim famous ones?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, as like psychology, as like independent knowledge, it was set up by non-Muslims, okay, 200 years ago, okay? But what about the Muslims? They did not do it as like independent, you can say, independent science, but they made it as part of some other thing. For example, philosophy, part of philosophy. Herbal medicine, Ibn Sina, and psychology is part of herbal medicine. Do you know, if you remember, 4 different types of mizaj. Okay, for example, phlegmatic, okay, melancholic. So the person with a lot of phlegm in his body, so that phlegm will affect on his behavior, on his psychology. Okay, so it means as a side effect, we have psychology. But the main target was herbal medicine. Same thing about Muslim philosophers. Same thing about Muslim Sufis, Imam Ghazali, Shahabuddin Suhrawardi. Okay, so their main aim was, you can say, spiritual journey to God, but to get that, they need to improve their psychological behavior. So it was just as part, but not as independent. So as independent subject, it was set up 200 years ago, and by non-Muslims, by Western, you can say, philosophers and scientists. Okay, so anyway, that's the main.
And do you think they would recognise a lot of what you've spoken about during this show?
Yes, of course, yes. So, but they may have their own interpretation to that. Okay, so obviously we have two opposites: Jung on one side and Freud on the other side. Two opposites. Okay, in which subconsciousness is the main foundation of the psychology, and the second will say subconsciousness is side effect to the main. So you understand? So, but both of them will have their own interpretation to the
deep.
issues which.
Yeah,
it is a bit deep. Yeah.
My brain's hurting.
Yeah, it's a good subject, you know.
It's a very interesting subject.
Psychology and philosophy. Unfortunately, according to Muslims, that is affect like fruits of brain, and brain is, you can say, a bad thing, negative thing according to Muslims, and unfortunately, we paid very big cost for it, for this type of, you can say, behavior.
Right. Okay.